Hello, Wolfpack. Bitcoin has broken down as expected, as we've been saying for the last week or so. This was clearly a massive bull trap. I'm not saying this to be annoying to people who are in the market and got wrecked, right? I'm just saying that on this channel, we've been claiming this is a bull trap for a long time. In fact, we've been claiming every single one of these bounces were bull traps, and they all turned out to be so. There was nothing in this bounce to me that signified this wasn't a bull trap, other than the fact that we got above the support box briefly, and now we're right back below it. Why didn't I believe that rally? Well, we were within the bearish structure, for those of you who don't know, and this ascending channel formation is a bearish formation. If you're contrasting it to the formation we had in May to July, that was a descending channel formation, a typically bullish formation, a pattern of reversal. This is a pattern of exhaustion, and in fact, if you zoom out, what you can see is it's actually a bear flag, right? And you're applying that to the breakout zone. You can see this is going to target a lot lower at this point here on Bitcoin if it's going to follow that formation. So no, I didn't think this is a bearish formation, a bullish formation. This is obviously a bearish formation. I'm going to stick by that because I don't let my opinions and my bias get in the way of the objective realities of a situation. If this is a bearish charting formation, I'm going to be bearish. I'm not going to be bullish because I want something to happen. I'm going to be bullish when I think something's going to happen, right? I didn't think that at that point. What was constituting this as a bearish formation? First of all, it's a pattern of exhaustion, as I just said. Also, we had a descending volume all the way back from the start of this formation in January 22nd. There has been descending volume. And yes, I would assume that this pattern is going to ultimately break to the downside and is going to lead to a 30k Bitcoin, and in the long run, and I mean this like by long run, I mean like by November, December, to a 22k Bitcoin, 24k Bitcoin, right? Around the 200-week SMA. That is my ultimate prediction. And for those of you who say, oh, well, it's typical for YouTubers to flip bullish towards the bottom. No, I've been saying this since 66 to 63k, right? I think 63k, right? I've been saying this since up here. So don't tell me that I'm only flipping bearish now just because we're at the bottom. No, I've been saying this since 63k. So I'm sticking by what I've said. I'm having conviction in my original predictions, and that's something that's very admirable to a lot of people in this space. But what we're seeing now, right, and if we zoom into something like the 4-hourly chart, for example, what we could see is a massive breakdown from this triangle formation, and we're unable at this point, to hold the major support block at 44.3k. So we can go ahead and flip that red right now, because that's not holding at this point, and we could see ascending volume rapidly on the 4-hourly chart, which means this drop is actually strengthening at this point. So where do I assume this drop is going to go to? Well, just going off common sense and just going off, again, the objective reality of TA, right? Because I've studied this extensively, what we can expect after a rejection of a top side of a channel is a swing to the bottom side of a channel. And so, yeah, I think a 40k Bitcoin, right? The bottom's around 40k now. A 40k Bitcoin is likely. It might not be, tomorrow, but within, let's say, well, it's the 7th right now, within a week or so, maybe a little bit more than a week, we're going to be ending up at a 40k Bitcoin, right? It could be today, who knows, right? But the point is, it's very hard to tell. So within a week, I reckon we'll be ending up at about a 40k Bitcoin. And then that will be a test of the bottom side, right? And then whether we want, so we'll do something like this, whether we want and probably find a little bit of support at 42k before we drop straight down. So maybe something like this, right? Whether we want to hold or whether we will hold the bottom of this channel one more time is a question for another day, right? We could see one more swing to the upside before a breakdown. That's something we need to consider when that time comes. But at the end of the day, I think, yeah, this is a bearish structure until we see any signs of bullishness. And at this point, we're not seeing signs of bullishness within this structure. In fact, all we're seeing at this point on Bitcoin is kind of, we gained a lot of support and now we're losing it all, right? Right now we are testing, for example, the bull market support band, but we wicked way below that. And you can see just there before it disappeared, the daily close is actually currently a little bit below it as well. The 21 EMA is lost. Gaussian channel is being tested right now. Volume profile is not relevant. If we're looking at the Ikomoku cloud, it's actually at the bottom of the channel, so we'll conquer that at a later day. And we've rejected from a 200 for sure. And as for Bollinger Bands, they were compressing and now they're kind of moving and spreading back out again. So lots of things to consider here. On the daily chart, we've actually seen a bearish MACD cross as well, and the RSI wasn't looking too strong at that point. So, yeah, at this point, it's very much just confirming the current trend, which is down to 42k in the short term, probably down to the bottom of the channel in a bit of a medium-term format, next week or so. And so when we look at something like the 5-day chart, we can see how obvious this was in hindsight, right? Hindsight doesn't really help people, but it does, make them better analysts in the future, right? If you look at these trends that are occurring, for example, the trend between 2018 and now, what we saw in 2018, and let me just show you a fractal quickly so you can get a bit of an understanding of what this is. 2018's price action in the bear market is identical to the current price action in this bear market. And people think, wow, that's not possible. But if we apply the fractal, right, So let's bring this fractal. You saw me just then. I just took it straight out of 2018, and we'll just apply it straight into what's going on currently and try and scale it a little bit. It's kind of hard to get these perfect, but you can see that that's a carbon copy, right, of what's going on now in this bull market here. And in that same time period at the end where we had the wick to the upside, right, in 2018, what we saw with the Gaussian channel is the Gaussian channel on the 5-day flipped red, right, on the last day of that rally. The Gaussian channel has flipped red on the last day of the rally here, and that was my signal that was the local top. And, obviously that means that this, I hate to be kind of a downer here, but that means that this area here at 48K, 48K retest will likely be the highest Bitcoin goes until the end of the bear market, right? So we've seen the peak. We've seen the dead cat bounce peak according to this chart, right? According to this chart. It's very important to say, according to this chart, we've seen the peak. And then looking at something like, for example, the weekly MACD, and a lot of people would have said, oh, but Wolves of Crypto, there's a weekly MACD cross. It's super bullish, weekly MACD. And I would normally agree that a weekly MACD cross is super bullish. The only problem is, again, if we're taking up those 2018 similarities, this same thing happened at the exact same point in the fractal as it did in 2018 as well. We saw a MACD cross here. However, it flattened out, right? And didn't actually lead to anything. It just flattened out before a crash. Right now, we've seen a MACD cross, but the chart is going down, right? And you can see the blue line there starting to curve away, the MACD line starting to curve into a flattening. And if we see a weekly close at a negative prices here around these prices, we're going to see a flattening out, and that MACD cross is going to fail, right? Ultimately, just like it did in 2018. And so at this point, as you can see, there's not really much evidence, in general to suggest that we're doing anything other than what we did in 2018, which ultimately led to a retest of the 200-week SMA, right? The 200-week SMA being this green line. Now, I'm not going to dive into the 4-year cycle chart. It's very extensive. It will take a long time. I've done a whole video on it in the past. Go ahead and type, I guess I'll chuck it in the description below, okay? There's a 4-year cycle video I've done, but basically, if you read this chart and colorate all of the things you're reading, right? So read all the whites together, read all the reds together, read all the yellows together, you'll see that there is a clear trend here on the 4-year cycle that suggests that, well, the November top was actually the top as predicted throughout a 9-year-long trend, right? A decade-long trend as predicted. And the bottom, as predicted for a decade-long trend, will be at 24K in November to December, around 24K in November to December, and then we will break all-time highs again in August to September. Okay, that is very important. Now, that's something we can look into more extensively as it starts to come to light, but I have looked into that in the past, and the point is, the 4-year cycle says for tops in. The chart, in my opinion, says for tops in. We're in a pattern of exhaustion in a bull trap, and if we're looking at, for example, recession, that says for toppers in as well. But what I will say is that there is a chance that obviously all of this gets invalidated. And I don't want to say there's a chance that I'm wrong. Of course, there's a chance that I'm wrong. But the point is, my opinion is not based on my opinion. My opinion is based on the trend that's occurring right now. So there's a chance that the trend is wrong here. And, that's obviously something we need to keep an eye out. And that chance would be coming to light if Bitcoin manages to break above this ascending channel formation. If Bitcoin somehow swings to the upside, breaks above the ascending channel formation, that will be bullish, and that will be undeniably bullish, right? You can't be bearish when that happens. You can be bearish macro because of a recession, but at least short to medium term, that's a very bullish thing, right? But until we break this channel, as long as we're within this channel, we are very bearish on Bitcoin, in my personal opinion. And as long as we were within this channel, based off mathematics, not based off my opinion, we will be breaking to the downside. That's what we need to assume based off statistical analysis, right? So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. Doesn't look too hot right now. Now, before we end the video, I would like to say, WOC exclusive, the Telegram group, we pulled 460% profit last month, outperforming the market by roughly almost 15x, right? So that is live. That is live now. By the time this video gets out, that will be open. Go ahead and join using the pinned comment below. It's open for 24 hours. You can join that group for 40 USD, which equates to be $10 a week. And obviously, you can make that back tenfold, bloody 100-fold. Potentially, I'm not promising anything, but potentially you could do that. I mean, we copped 460% profit last month. I'm not saying we're going to cop those results again, but if you're looking at 460% profit and you're looking at 40 USD, you can see that it's a pretty good deal, according to last month's results at least. So let's see what happens there. But the point is, that's open now. If you want to join that, obviously you don't have to. I've got free content here on YouTube for you guys to enjoy. You can, and that's covering altcoin trading signals, trading plans, etc. So go ahead and check that out. Even if you don't want to join, just go ahead and read the bio and you might be interested. Who knows? So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one tomorrow. Cheers.